Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Merch Podcast. As you would have guessed from the title, we have a special guest, a returning special guest today of Nate Weston. But because he's already on the phone right now, we're just going to hit the intro music and get straight into it. So let's go. Oh, shit. Straight away. Hello. All right. Nathaniel, how you doing?
All right. How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing good. You got me by my wrong full name, but I'll take it though.
Wait, what?
Full name's just Nathan.
Nathan. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, Nathan's
no,
like.
You're good.
Is it like it's like Nathaniel? Then that shortens down to Nathan. That shortens
It's
down to
literally
Nate.
spelled the same way, except Nathaniel. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Most people
yeah.
would like think that's my full name, but actually it's not. But I
Well,
appreciate the
Nathan.
try though.
You're Nathaniel.
Nathan.
Nathaniel to me.
Well, hell yeah.
What time? Where are you? You're in LA, right?
I'm in LA right now. Yeah, I'm at the Tempest headquarters right now. It's pretty not early in the morning. I'm just not a morning person.
Yeah. What time is it?
It's like 9 right now. 9 in the morning.
Yeah,
didn't even
that's
think about
not
that.
early.
Yeah, it's not that early. I don't like mornings.
Yeah, 5 p.m. here. So
Lovely. How you guys doing?
no, good. Really, really, really good. Actually, I mean, fucking shit's hitting the fan every day, but like also it's just dealing with it.
It's just a rush to do things.
We got loads of cool stuff in the pipeline. So
But I'm so excited
Yeah,
to talk
dude.
to you about Skullchatter.
yeah,
So excited.
Oh man, I'm stoked to talk about it as well. It's been quite the endeavor and like
shrouded in
been
mystery
so
as
much
well.
Fun. It's so much fun. Yeah, it is a bit like I don't know. I feel like to properly like do it like all the way, I just had to kind of like not talk about it and like
Yeah.
not release stuff until like it got towards the end because I don't like hyping anything up really. Like,
But sometimes that's the
just-
best way
yeah,
to
I don't
hype it. Yeah, like you tease a little
yeah, I
bit.
guess,
Like,
yeah. So I mean, that's the goal, I guess. Yeah. Now we're like in the month of releasing it, and so it's just like, all right, let's just like do little teasers and get like the trailer going, and then like have it be like a proper like release. It's not like as proper as I'd like due to COVID and stuff. 'Cause,
Always,
I
yeah.
imagine it being like a like a sick premiere, I guess, like kind of like skate video premiere style.
yeah.
But I mean, that's not going to happen. So I mean, we're trying to get it as close to perfect as possible. Due to the situation we got, with the world right now.
That's the thing. It's like you can either just go, oh shit, my vision's been ruined, or just adapt and like do your best and sort of
that. Yeah, and that's how it's been. It's just like constantly adapting. It's like I mean, I've been holding on to clips since February.
Oh, okay.
fucking hell.
And like, it's like crazy because back then, like I thought it was going to be like a summer project and like be done, by like July and be able to travel and like come like see you guys and
No.
But
That's
how
crazy.
wrong I was.
Yeah. I thought maybe this was a project due to like COVID. Like maybe you thought like, oh, okay, like I've got this time I'm going to work on something. But you were
It
saving
definitely
clips.
adapted to that though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at first, it was like, all right, we're going to do a couple project, a couple months filming. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, I don't have nearly enough to like keep doing this. I need to go on a road trip. Like I got to do something. And
Sick.
yeah, just kind of like, took the pandemic in stride as best I could and just like work with it. As hard as that is, that's like the best you can do and try your best. And that's all you got. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's rewind for a second. So
Yeah.
what is Skullchatter? And when I ask that, I mean both things, the film and the meaning behind the film, which you alluded to early on in the teasing, right? On Instagram, I think it was.
Yeah. So like, I'll really start it from the top. So when I first moved to LA, actually a year ago, back in November. And, not that there's anything wrong with that move or anything, but it was just like a hard transition. And I found myself kind of like, I don't know, trying to like cling on to something to like kind of ground myself. And it seemed like things were just kind of like, I don't know, it didn't feel stable like at first. I felt like on one hand, it's like I moved to LA and like I got to like, to myself, I got to prove like why I'm here and like, I'm in LA, so I got to like do something. And so like that was like a constant kind of like pressure on myself. Like no one else did that but myself. And it just kind of like slowly built up to the point where like I couldn't even like train and like feel stoked. Like I was just like so in my head, like I just couldn't get it, like escape like my thoughts. And it was like really annoying. Like I'd get injured and like, just little things would happen that would just be like, why is this going on? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And like started getting like really like feeling like sorry for myself and like just, not in a good place. And I kind of like knew it was happening in the moment, but I didn't know what I needed to do to like get out of that. And I started listening to Alan Watts and a bunch of like, kind of self-help podcasts to like kind of like really like figure out what it is like that's going on in my head and like why this is happening. Cause like I do believe like there's a reason for everything, as shitty as it may be or as good as it may be. There's always like learning experiences in those moments. And so I was really trying to like dive into that. And when I heard about like Alan Watts's talk about overthinking and like how like he talks about the law of reverse effort, and like the more you try and like escape the negative experience, the more negative the actual negative becomes. And like you feel like because you're trying to like evade this thing, it like actually sets you up for, and I felt it completely. Like the more I tried to get out of this like bad mindset, like the worse it got. So I was like, oh my God, like what the heck? Like it just like, it hit me so well. Like it was like, this is exactly what I'm going through. And he referred to it as chatter in the skull. And I was like, dang, that's
that's a video name.
And that's like, and if I can like do this one thing, like back in February, I did this one thing that I'm not going to say until the video releases, because I want it to be like, it's a clip. Yeah. And it's like, I knew in my head, like if I can do this one thing, like it is the most like terrifying, like it's basically like all the buildup of my training up into this one thing, like this one challenge. And it felt like if I could do this one thing, like be in the moment for like this, however many minutes it took, like 10, 15 minutes or something like that. Like if I could just like zone into this one thing, like I can like get myself back into like, being normal, I guess, again. And so in a way, like, again, like there's a reason for everything, I think. And like the experience that I was having, like how bad it felt in the moment, like that's what actually got me to do that thing. And so that's a bit strange. Like, in a way, like this whole project was started off by like me, like basically about to like have a mental breakdown. Which is pretty crazy to think about.
They kind of lit the fire.
And I think, like there's nothing, and I don't know, I'm definitely like the type of person not to like, I definitely know I'm in my head a lot. And I don't like to, like openly express like, what I'm actually feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say you're like, I feel like my interactions with you're quite a reserved person.
Yeah,
like fairly kind of to yourself. Yeah,
I think it's just it's a combination of things. But yeah, I'm definitely more to myself, and like I definitely am trying to take this project and put it in a way that like gives me a reason to talk about like this experience that I've been having, and like talk about mental health, and like it's not like as terrible as it can be. Like I think you got something to learn, and I just want to share my experience with all this through the project, and like that's my way of like kind of like expressing my experience in a positive way. So that makes me really stoked. So again, it's like it's on one hand it's like got some of my best clips and stuff, but it's just about like the deeper meaning behind it, like why do you do stuff, like it really made me question like why I'm doing this, and made me like stick to it, I guess. But that's what started it off, which is crazy.
Sick. I forgot to plug my laptop in, and I do not want it to die because the battery's dying on it. But
God, my charger's right there. Absolutely terrible. Jesus. Oh just man. I now in my head, all I'm thinking about is this clip. How you're explaining it, it's pretty cool. Sounds good.
It's I don't want to give it away.
Don't. but
like it's just it's one of those things. It's just like in my head, like I'm not trying to like limit myself or like pretend like I want to keep progressing and keep doing things.
Yeah.
But like, and pushing myself. But if this is like the epitome of like what this thing is to me, like my training, like I'm completely fine with that. Like if that's like the peak or whatever, like
so
I don't.
When you said, did you say that was the first clip you got, or was that?
Yeah.
So it was the first one of the video. That raises the bar for yourself, I think. Like even if you like can't mentally top that clip, I feel like it's just already a good streak. Do you know what I mean? It just puts you into that like.
Yeah.
Are you all hearing that weird buzzing since I plugged the laptop in?
Yeah.
Oh.
We can quickly pause and then sort that buzzing out so that it doesn't happen.
I don't think let's unplug the laptop and not make this full screen so we can keep an eye on the battery life.
Yeah, okay.
It's the smartest thing. I don't want to do a podcast with a fucking buzzing in there.
I can slightly hear it as well. Dang.
Yeah.
My charger is if we do that.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, we're just gonna have to keep an eye on it. My charger is one of those like low grade ones off Amazon that I didn't want to pay full price for a Mac charger, and it sounds like it's gonna explode. It's terrifying. So I have a question. Is that clip that you're talking about in the trailer?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's so annoying because if you said yes, I would be scrubbing through it
because the trailer
can't find it.
The trailer does not give much away. Like there's a few things where you're like, oh well, that's like I don't know. We watched it a couple of times and I was like, I reckon he's gonna do that. I reckon this is happening. But apart from, it's not like a very. Yeah, you've kept it pretty slim in terms of.
Yeah, that was raise curiosity. And to know that, like, it's still happening, like, because again, like I've been going quiet on Instagram and like
we literally just scrolled through your stuff and we're like, he's basically posted nothing. Like,
completely like, not done anything. Because I just feel like I don't want to do the project injustice by like sharing anything too much.
Oh,
either.
Yeah, we lost you for a second, but you're good. Yep, you got us.
Sick. I hear you.
Yeah, cool.
I just like, I feel like Instagram and like social media, I feel like to me, it like needs a meaning to like really push that. And if there's no like not end goal, but if there's no like reasoning behind like posting and stuff, I just have a hard time like being stoked about it. So I was just like, either I'm like, gonna like post stuff about this project or nothing at all, and there's like no in between.
And also what we found on Soul Destroyer is like, especially with long form projects that tend to typically drag on a bit, and you're like you pencil in a date of completion and then it turns out it's 3 months later. We made the mistake of is kind of hyping it, and then shit got delayed and then more and more delayed. And it was just like, I mean, it kind of works in our favor because by that point it was like at boiling point. But
everyone was like, "Where is this?"
But
project?
fuck me, it was so scary in terms of like the risk of like disappointment and like overhype and things. So,
how long was that process from like start to finish?
I have the same question for you, but
the process from the start of Soul Destroyer to the end.
We started filming it in May last year, and then had loads of months where we weren't shooting at all because we were in America and stuff like that. And then we went pretty heavy over winter, and then did a couple of months of editing. So probably realistically like half a year, but it was spread out over a year.
Gotcha.
So, but well, the first question I wanted to ask was, what are you able to say what kind of format this project is? Because all we know is it's called Skullchatter, and it's kind of being teased like a film, but it could be a documentary or it could be a
banger.
I'll elaborate a little bit more on that. Yeah, because so for me, I had it in my head to be like kind of like a feature length, I guess. Or like like in the 30 or 40 minute range, and I think we could have done something like that. But the way that like the video was going and the way that I had the timeline like all set out, and like it just didn't feel like I didn't want to stretch it to like conform to any kind of like previous idea that I had. And so it was really looking like it just should be like a kind of like a short film style, like 10 to 12 to 15 minute video.
Okay.
And like so I started to keep like I didn't want to like cut off like or shut any doors to what it should be or what it could be. And I know a lot of people were saying like like, oh, I want to buy the film, and like I really appreciate that. But I think the way that we're going now is it's just going to be like a free YouTube video to watch, and it's going to be like over 10 minutes.
Sick.
Right now, that's how it is, and to be like a visual like story, like there's no like narrative really. It's just kind of like the whole point is like just to be able to watch it like through and not have any like distinguishing like this is what happened, but like to have it kind of open to interpretation as well.
Yeah, okay.
That's kind of how I feel about it too.
Sick.
And also we're doing like a bunch of like I want to keep doing stuff like this, like talking to you guys and like and doing clothing and doing like a photo book and like doing all these other things that you can kind of play off of it and keep the kind of narrative going in that direction and not have it just only be in the video. It's
like multimedia surrounding one concept. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the direction we're going with it. And I'm pretty stoked on it. Like, yeah, it makes me really hyped.
Sick.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also like, I don't want it to be, cause I figured also that like, if it's a pay to watch film, it'll have, I guess for me, like if it was, I don't know, I just don't see like a bunch of other people besides the parkour community to watch it. And like,
okay.
And there's like, I want the skateboard community and BMX community or like, other sports to be able to watch it. And to not have to buy into it, I guess.
It's definitely like a decision that like to sell something, you are essentially closing. Well, you're limiting some doors, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which,
I think so.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, limiting, I don't know. That sounds, it's just like, it prevents like the possibility of someone like randomly like
stumbling across it.
Like,
especially with the issue with the like suggested thing. I can imagine that your video being like pushed up.
Well, I mean,
suddenly gets loads of.
This is coming out when the trailer comes out, right? So we can essentially talk about what we've seen in the trailer. Which I don't know the name of the gap and I don't know the skater, but you are quite clearly doing something over that very famous gap on their water towers, right?
Yes, sir. I like am so hyped on that.
Yeah, because that's like
the reason. That's the reason.
Like, it's like Dom doing Jaws, isn't it? Like it's immediately for a skater they can create that connection, which then helps the sport spread, right? Like it goes to a bigger audience.
That's what I figured. Yeah. So it's like I'd rather it like affect or impact more, people. Given we won't get like a bunch of money, from sales for the film, but like, that's not the point. Like the point is like, it's a passion project that's like literally out of my pocket. And I'm just really trying to like, do something for the community and for, the community surrounding like what we love to do. And like, it doesn't have to just be parkour.
That's sick.
Did you, no, sorry, carry on.
But yeah, the water towers. Yeah. Like, I like was looking up the Jenkum video where Jeremy Ray, the skater, he did it back in 1997.
Fucking hell.
Ollied that.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And like I did some research and I was like, holy crap, like this is literally like 35, 40 minutes from where I'm living. Like,
oh, sick.
And I was like, no way I'm not going to like go look at this. There's like, there's things that like, even if you don't even touch, like if you just want to look at a spot just to like, kind of like take it in and just like see what it's like. And then all of a sudden, like we're just like, we hopped the fence and then we're at the water towers and it was like, oh my gosh, like we're going to do this thing. And it was a sick experience. Yeah. What
was it like getting up there? I don't know. I haven't seen sort of wider shots, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was not too bad. They took the fire escape off, the one that he previously like was able to get up.
Oh, okay.
So I had to find my own way up. I'll leave that. I'll wait to release that info. We have the photo book. And
nice.
That's going to be being so when the trailer releases, we're doing pre-orders for the book.
Sick.
And we have a bunch of interviews with Jeremy Ray included.
Oh, fuck.
What? No way.
And like Mike Escamilla, who is a BMX bike rider, and he bunny hopped it.
Fucking hell.
And we got some other people in the parkour community as well. And so like they're doing interview pieces in the book. So it's like kind of like the idea I had for the book was like to try and do like a photo book style, like Thrasher mag kind of like combination.
Yeah.
And also to like talk about Skullchatter and like what it is to me. And so, yeah, those will be available for pre-order. And then they'll be like shipped out on the 30th when the film actually releases.
Love it. So how is I want to know, how is the gap like that is it fucked? Like looking at it and thinking on a skateboard, this is just, because
it doesn't make any sense. Like,
really?
Because Jeremy said on a podcast I was listening to, he was saying like, because he had to running jump across.
Yeah.
And he was saying that scared him more than ollieing it, which is so insane to me to think about.
Yeah. Well, he must just
like
he understands speed on the skateboard, whereas he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak for him because he talks about pretty in depth on like the 9 Club about his whole experience. But yeah, but looking at the gap is so crazy because they're both, it's 16 foot flat to flat.
Mm-hmm. So it's IMAX. I think IMAX is 16, isn't it?
Something like that.
The gap across.
I feel like it might be ever so slightly smaller.
Yeah, maybe it's 14. But yeah, so that's pretty fucking decent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bit big and like
that's fucked for a skater who doesn't jump.
Yeah.
Dude, I know. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
what the hell?
It really doesn't. And he did that in 97. That's 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, like the water towers like curve. And so like there's this single point that is it's the shortest of like a part, and if you angle like the slightest bit, it just becomes like way too big.
Fuck.
You like won't even make it to like you barely make it to cat or whatever.
And
so like yeah, it was weird like standing at it, and like it's so like I don't know, I'd never really seen a gap like that high, like flat to flat, and like so just like I don't know. It was just so prominent. Like it was just like so like
it was so obvious. It's just a gap, isn't it? When you see it, it's like. Oh.
So the thing I'm really curious about is like obviously we see you jumping it in the trailer, but this guy, what was his name, Jeremy?
Yep, Jeremy
has jumped it. So like you're obviously doing something else over that gap, I presume.
I feel like it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious, yeah. Because when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, there's no way he's just jumping that. Like the jump's fucked, but there's got to be something else. So I'm excited for that clip. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm stoked.
So I mean, one thing I wanted to ask because obviously, well, actually, so something you said is like about trying to make it a long form piece. I suddenly realized that like as a single athlete, that's a massive undertaking compared to like with something like Soul Destroyer or Roof Culture, you've got kind of 8 athletes or something like this. So it's understandable why actually like for a single person to try and bulk something out like that, it doesn't necessarily make as much sense. But that was my what I wanted to say was obviously you're the sort of star of this thing, but you've obviously had a team around you helping you. I'm aware Kent has been kind of one of those guys, but who have been the filmmakers, photographers, etc., like that have sort of been around you on this thing?
Yeah, it's been a handful of people. So back in February, like it started off with Ryan Kelly. He was just
sick.
in LA and just like happened to be in LA like when I did the thing that I'm like super stoked on. And he was there to film it and like got this whole like great like behind the scenes shots of it and stuff. So we have like a whole like another video to come after the release of the film to like document that. So Ryan like really kicked it off, and then like throughout like my time in LA until I like went back up to Seattle for a bit to visit my family in July. So like February to July, it was just like going out training with homies, like Garrett, Nico, Oliver, like a bunch of just homies, training buddies. And so that's like what started it. And it just kind of felt like with like the scale of like how stoked I was for this clip to be done in February. And we were getting like iPhone clips after that. And like it just felt like it wasn't like not doing it justice, but it felt like I had to like really try a bit harder to like, make it like a proper like film, I guess, and video. It doesn't. I don't want it to just be like an Instagram compilation. And so, I lived in Missoula for about a year and a half with Kent and the Unparalleled guys. And they're like my best friends. And so I just hit him up and was like, yo, like, I just want to go on a road trip and like, I'd love to pay you and like just go and like film and make this video happen.
Nice.
And he was down. So yeah, we went from like the August like 3rd or something like that. We went from Seattle to Bellingham, which is like in between Vancouver, and they have a new parkour park there, which is sick.
Nice.
And yeah, just like went from Seattle, Missoula down to Utah, Colorado, and then made our way back down to SoCal, went to Oceanside, and just like, yeah, had a sick month on the road.
Did you have,
and that was like, yeah.
Did you have like things in mind when visiting like those locations?
Yeah, I had a few things in mind. It was tough because like I don't like having too much pressure, like going into like, you know, locations being like, I know I want to do this, and I know I can do this.
Gonna build
so it, like,
the Skullchatter up a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, the Skullchatter really builds up. Yeah. And Colorado definitely, you know, is home to
some big
quite
things.
some gnarly mental challenges.
So the like the thumbnail poster style image is the Concrete in Denver, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. I feel like, yeah.
That's a decent
That
one.
was a big one.
Yeah.
And there's some other things that like I wanted to, well, so I've already done the white rail descent that like Nick and Brandon, Nick and Dylan did. Mm-hmm. It's like on the outside of the garage.
Yeah.
And I did that back in like 2019. And so I knew I could do it, and I wanted to go back and like do that again, and the Concrete, and like maybe another like roof gap challenge. So I had like all these things in mind.
Sick.
And the thing that like really messed with me was like there was like a bunch of wildfires like in the time that we were there, and so there was ash like everywhere. It was crazy, dude.
Oh, what?
And,
So like on the rails and things.
Yeah, on the rails and everything. And I was like warming up, and like me and Kent were like jokingly like, yeah, like there's like a lot of ash. Like maybe we should like, you know, it'll probably be fine, but we should probably like really check stuff. And then I shit you not, like the moment after we had that conversation, I like slipped on the rails, like toed, like completely toe slip out, and just like shinned a rail. And I was like, oh, okay. So like that rail descent, like unless I really like clean off the rails and like, but yeah, I'm just not down to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess, yeah, like, and you know, I guess I'm saying that like I didn't do it. But I think that's like a big thing for me is like, you know, being very like mindful about things at height, especially, is really important, and not being like this like send mentality and like, because I mean, you know, it's like when it comes down to it, if you slip off, you die. Like, you know, you want to make sure like you're really, really dialed in, and even though it's like this one little thing, like, you know, the rail being like a little bit ashy, it's like already too much. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not doing that.
I feel like ash is weird though. Like even just like having a bonfire, and then I don't know. I feel like I've had experiences sort of. This sounds so specific, but do you know what I mean? Like seeing ash on something. I swear, ash is weirdly slippery. Like, it has that weird texture.
Like it can have like the littlest like bit. Like it doesn't have to be covered in it. It just has like a little bit,
and it's just more slippery than dust. Like
so slippery.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Fucking hell. So it
was weird.
Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of started out with more of like a training, going out training with the guys, capturing clips, and then it slowly kind of grew into like this bigger.
Yeah, it grew into like, okay, like kind of more, not regimented, but it was more like, you know, I want to like build the project based on like what I want to have in the video.
Yeah.
And I was able to kind of do like a checklist style, like, you know, training, you know, I, on one hand, like having a good time with homies and training, but also like, you know, having some ideas about stuff. So I'm really stoked that like, it was able to kind of like do both of those at the same time. It's
such a hard balance, isn't it? Like, trying to shoot a project that you really want to get done and you care about, but also trying not to be like, I'm not allowed to have fun. Like this is just shooting. Like,
it's easy to get like really frustrated with something, or like, you know, a challenge doesn't go your way, and like it's hard for that not to bleed into like the next few days. But yeah, thankfully it wasn't like too crazy. I think, you know, having Kent there definitely kind of helped. Like we both were really like adamant about like, you know, we're just doing this to have fun. Like there's like, you know, not like this grand big, like there's nothing like at risk or like at stake if we don't like do a challenge. Like, or, you know, it doesn't really not that it doesn't matter, but it's like there's not like this huge like stressor or anything.
Yeah.
So was it like you said that you were basically sort of putting money into it? Like, so was it just you just doing this off your own back, or like I know that Tempest have sort of been getting more and more involved in like helping you out and stuff, but did they sort of, because obviously you said it's not like a stressor, because if you had some big sponsor on your back and you're like, oh shit, we got to meet these clips or whatever, but like, have they been helping, or has it kind of just been out of your pocket?
It's been all out of my pocket. I mean, yeah, any gym that's being run right now, like they're strapped for cash.
Oh yeah.
And Tempest is no exception. And you know, it's tough because, you know, Tempest is like a big name. And people still think that like, you know, they have all this money just laying around.
Tempest has they're the one gym that everyone thinks so differently about compared to everyone else. Yeah. And it's like, oh, they're millionaires. Like they must, they're fine.
Balling.
Yeah.
They're living in LA. Like it's fine. Yeah, no. So it like, yeah. And so basically going into it, like, you know, Tempest is pretty, you know, set on, you know, we don't have the money to, you know, support this financially. So I was like, okay, like that's fine. I know I wasn't being paid at all and not even working. So I was getting a little bit of unemployment money. And that kind of helped me kind of, you know, kick started into the whole process. But yeah, they're involved now. Like, you know, they're not like putting money into it right now.
But they're going to definitely help push it.
But they're going to help out and like, like, you know, do some, you know, with a photo book and like with clothing and stuff. So they're definitely helping, but it's not been like, we're just going to chuck money at this thing and like, you know, see it through. But,
But that's nice. I think like for you to essentially just do this off your own back is like the fulfillment of it.
Yeah.
It definitely helped. Yeah. It helped with like you said, like there's no big like
pressure
sponsor.
Helped with the Skullchatter.
Yeah. For sure. The puns. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? So was that your what the fuck's it called in America? The Corona money that everyone got paid. I've seen so many people just splurge that on bullshit.
I mean, because they had like the disaster. Yeah, man. No, I've been saving it. Like,
you're like,
you know, I don't think
put it into a good product
yet.
Oh no, yeah.
And so I've been holding on to it and like, putting it towards things that, you know, obviously at least have some return, if not financially, have some kind of like, you know, fulfillment.
I think,
like, you know, 2020, like I did something.
Exactly. That's like this whole year. Some people are like, oh, I just want to get the year over and done with. Like I would have done nothing this year. And it's like, well, you could have. Like not everyone. And there's obviously some people in horrible situations, but there's so much opportunity to be found if you like put yourself in the right place to like do something with the extra free time or the extra money that you've got from the government or blah, blah, blah. Like, so it's really been a testing year for like who's kind of been in the right headspace to like do some progression, I think.
True.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that's the common thing that I keep always coming back to is like, I'm just stoked that I was able to, you know, take what seemed like a year that was just getting like tossed in the bin.
Yeah.
And actually able to like, you know, make something somewhat positive of it.
Yeah. Did you have any issues did you go like traveling around because of Corona? Was that?
Not really. The thing that was interesting was like how different states, you know, they like their guidelines and stuff, and how they kind of handled things. But thankfully neither Kent or I got COVID and we were, you know, safe about like what we were doing. I was pretty worried at the time, but like we did a whole road trip through the country and, you know, nothing really had happened. So thankfully everything was all good.
Didn't Kent get COVID recently though?
He got COVID in Missoula. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw on Twitter, he was like, oh, I'm feeling a bit weird. And then the next day he tweeted like, oh, it's COVID. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Like, ooh, shoot.
Yeah. But is he doing it right now?
Yeah. He's back to normal now.
Yeah. Sick.
But yeah, it's such an interesting thing. Like I said, like we did the whole road trip through the US.
Yeah.
Like, you know, not eating like great food. Like, you know, your immune system's probably like definitely not at its peak in those moments.
I suppose you're not like training with massive groups of people anyway, because you're trying to shoot something. That's something I was wondering about anyway. Like, how many people do you want to see while you're trying to get clips for something that's quite important?
Oh yeah, were you sneaking in and out of cities or?
Not really sneaking, but we definitely limited. Like, I didn't want to be in a big group.
Yeah.
One, COVID, and I guess two, because it's like we're
you're
doing
trying
a
to
project.
concentrate.
It's just like it's hard to like when you're at a jam or something, like you don't really like train to film a line or anything. I don't know, like it just feels weird. Like, and I feel like that would be the same kind of feeling.
For sure.
So it wasn't like we were trying to sneak around. Like we saw homies and kept it pretty low in numbers, I think. But also just based off of like not many people want to even be in a group, so it's like it's kind of nice actually. It worked out pretty well.
Sick. Nice. Does COVID play any visual narrative in the piece, or is it kind of just all movement?
A bit, yeah. I was trying to kind of like subtly put it in to not be like this was filmed during a pandemic and this was so hard. I feel like it was hard, but it's not like the pivotal kind of like
I had to wear a mask.
Yeah, God dang it, no. But yeah, it's like definitely in there a little bit.
Sick.
And it'll be able to kind of like, I guess if you get the book and like the clothing, you'll be able to kind of like, see that a bit more.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, this was during a pandemic, like, and that was the one thing when I was going through all this, like, filming and all this stuff. I know that like in 5 years, I'll look back and be like, yeah, sick. Like that was during that year where everything just went to shit. Like,
it proves that you can do it no matter what, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To anyone watching. Which is really nice.
Yeah.
I got two questions. One, I just want to get out of the way, but what gear was Kent shooting on? Because I know there'll be kind of gearheads looking to know what cameras and things.
He had, I forget which Sony, but he had a Sony camera, and he had the Ronin as well, like the stabilizer.
Yeah.
And that makes every shot just look so nice and so beautiful. He also had a drone as well. I forget which make it was, but it's from DJI.
Yeah,
I think.
So fairly kind of.
But yeah. Oh shit.
Oh,
you there?
Yeah, we're there. We're good.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I glitched out a bit.
Yeah. So sort of fairly conventional, like in terms of filming styles and. Like,
I feel like Kent's good at filming.
Yeah, Kent's
filmed videos for you before, hasn't he? Most of the videos.
Yeah, we've done projects in the past. Yeah. Like we did Hometown together.
Yeah, exactly.
Missoula.
Like they were filmed.
Like, we worked pretty well.
Yeah, for parkour, for watching parkour, that's like the perfect style.
It's very complimentary of the movement.
Yeah, you're not thinking about. I mean, you are kind of, but you're more just thinking about the parkour being done rather than going, like crazy shots. Do you know what I mean? Like, just puts a lot of attention on the movement. Which is cool.
You gotta have to like find like a nice middle ground, I guess.
For sure.
It's not all about the shot, but it's also like about the movement, and so it's kind of like finding like the nice like in between. Like best of both worlds.
And so the trailer is quite, for the most part, quite artistic in terms of the. I guess people have seen it now. So all the projector work where you're sitting in front of the footage, which is fucking sick. Like, is that kind of trailer specific thing, or are we going to see that more in the film as well?
We'll see a bit in the film, yeah. It was just like such a fun thing to just like set up the projector in the back.
Yeah, I love
just like
stuff
play
like
little
that.
clips and stuff, and it just kind of adds to it. It'll definitely be a little bit in the film.
Sick,
nothing crazy, but
I like that.
But yeah, I'm stoked.
That's awesome. Cool. The other question I had, I've completely forgotten. What was it?
I want to know about.
Go on, because I've forgotten. Bodies.
Because when we were shooting Soul Destroyer, like so many of us were getting like injuries or just like annoying pains, just like setbacks. And this is just you, the whole film. So I was just wondering if you had like, if it was just a smooth ride or you've had like some. Stress.
Like knock on wood, like this year I've felt like my body's felt the best it's ever been. And I've had like no major, I've had like, bruised heels and like, like dumb little things happen.
Yeah.
But nothing like so major that it like put me out for more than like a month.
Yeah.
And I knew that, like you said, like, it's like a solo project. And so I really had to make sure that like, I can't be just like getting hurt on the first day.
For sure.
So that was definitely like on my mind. I guess that was probably the most like, if there was a stressor during the trip, like that was like the one thing.
Yeah, especially because it's a road trip. Like most of it was shot road trip.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of like, I'd say a lot. Did you have any like walkaways purely out of, I mean, obviously we spoke about the descent with the ash, but were there some things that maybe you'd set your mind on prior to getting to a spot or something, and then you're just like, nah?
I'm trying to think. The descent was the biggest one, honestly. Like after, Cherry Creek, I didn't really have much other kind of like preset goals, I guess. It was just kind of like, I know the style of like what I like, movement style, what I want to be in the video. So we're just like searching for those things.
That's sick. That sounds like just chill, like not too much pressure.
Yeah, no, it was so chill. Like, yeah, honestly, even like Cherry Creek was like one of the first, not the very first, but one of the first like stops on the trip as well.
Yeah, nice.
So that was kind of nice to get that out of the way and be like, all right, like I'm still alive. Like I'm gonna keep going, but not like be overly like sketch about like doing like scary things. But just be comfortable with stuff. One of the most memorable ones was in San Francisco, actually, when I was staying with Ryan, and he took us to his school, and like it was on a rest day, and it was like the perfect perfect example of like going and prepping and then like visualizing and then leaving and then coming back the next day and then filming it, and it like
sick.
worked flawlessly.
Nice.
And it was like that was like a great feeling.
Lie in bed and
knowing
envision
that, like that.
Yeah.
And like the jump, like we were looking at, like when we first looked at it, I was like, dude, I don't know, this is really scary. And then the next day when like as it came around, it was like, oh wait, like this is completely fine. Like it felt like just overnight, it just felt like, my brain had time to like think about and like really like know like all the like the worst case scenarios, like just going through them all.
That's so interesting.
There's a crazy...
it was nice.
Yeah, there's a crazy... I can't remember who it is. There's a sort of research into sleep that it literally is like when they... The statement like, I'll sleep on it, actually has scientific backing in the sense that if you sort of train something or mentally prepare for something, sleeping actually, if you focused on it enough that day or repeated a movement, that like it's sleeping, literally your brain, it allows you to rehearse and it will just do it while you're asleep. And apparently it's like scientifically proven that it is beneficial, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
like,
it feels like, I completely agree with you on the feeling of it. Yeah, it's like, it's crazy.
That's sick.
Yeah, that's
I remember what I wanted to ask. So clothing, because you've mentioned this a couple of times. So I knew about the photo book because you'd asked a couple of questions, but what was what's the clothing stuff coming?
Clothing stuff, we have all those like pretty much still kind of like we're waiting for samples still. But it's like it's kind of gonna be last minute, I think. So those are a bit like, that's why they're not on pre-order, because we don't really like, we know they're gonna be ready, we just don't really, I guess, know exactly when.
Yeah,
ideally it's gonna be on the 30th. Like we're just gonna we're gonna figure it out when the time comes. But the book is like final, like sick. It's all good. And so we're just gonna start doing pre-orders, and I felt like the trailer release was a good time to like do that. But yeah, clothing, I'm super stoked on the clothing. Like, I just wanted to like create something that just felt good and nothing like too crazy. Like you can train in, you can also just like chill in. And
is this,
don't want to give,
sorry, Karen.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, is this, you go. It's the ever so slight delay, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard over FaceTime, my bad. Like I don't want it to be like too crazy and like too like abstract. I like simplicity a lot. And I wanted things to be kind of like really casual in the eye, but you can train in, but also like be able to kind of chill in as well. But yeah.
Nice. Was that designed by you, or did you have that input?
I put a lot of input into it. And again, like some of the Tempest guys, like graphic designer kind of helped out and like, mocking it up and stuff. And I was able to be like, like, can we like do this way? Or like, and then, Gabe would come in and be like, hey, like, I think we should do this. Like, cause he's really smart and in the way he kind of like, advertises and does business. And so it was kind of like a cool way to like, you know, go from artist to like how I like thought like Skullchatter like should be portrayed, and then go to Gabe, and then basically just like do the whole like loop like a few times.
Yeah, that's
and like got to the point where we could like get it to the point where like we were all stoked. So yeah, I'm happy about it.
I mean, so what like from initial Final Vision, not Final Vision, from initial vision back in like February when you did that thing that I'm now very excited to see. And every time, what people can't see is every time we talk about it, Nate has this little grin on his face. So it's like, you know, it's going to be something that's like fucked or good. So I'm very excited. But yeah, as we've said, it built and it went from training and then it turned into this road trip and things. Like, are you... where on that spectrum of like how happy you are with kind of the direction it's taken are you, or sort of, I don't know, like with Soul Destroyer, for example, I'm so happy with what it turned out to be, but also in some ways it had a much bigger vision. It also had a vision that was purely based just shooting in the UK, and then that changed. So like it took different changes along the way. Yeah. So how do you feel about the whole process? Like now that you're near the end?
I honestly, I feel kind of similar to how I think you explained how you felt about Soul Destroyer, where it's like, I had this like kind of grand idea of it, like, you know, being like a feature length or being something bigger, and also having it done sooner in the year. But like, again, like as those things kind of like, you know, those bumps in the road happen, like there's no point in just like, you know, keeping on like hitting yourself in the head, like banging against the wall like a bunch of times. Like there's not going to solve anything. Like you might as well just like, you know, figure it out, like why it's happening, or, you know, a better way to like deal with it. Rather than just feeling sorry and like wishing it was a different way, because it's just not going to get anywhere. But from like initial vision, like I'm so extremely stoked on like the way that it's turned out, and it's not like there's no regrets, I guess. And there's no like, it should have been this way. And like, I wish it was like this. And I wish I had better like movement style, or like we filmed this wrong or whatever. It was like, no, like everything was great. Like all around, like, most stoked I've been about a project to date. So
sick. Yeah. I'm so very excited. I was meaning to ask, so who's editing it? Is it you? Is it Tempest? Is it Ken? Or?
Yeah, I'm the one editing it.
Oh, sick.
So that's been nice. Oh, yeah. It's been like a combination of like, I did the editing for the film, and Julian, one of the Tempest filmers, and he edits as well. He did the trailer.
Okay, yes.
Because I just like, I was like, hey, like, do you want to do this? Because I definitely like feel like I don't know that much about trailers, and like don't know how to like really tease something like that.
They're a very different beast. Like,
and I just was like, I really want to give this off to you. And so he created the trailer and did an amazing job.
He killed it.
Great. But yeah, the final edit is going to be by me, which I'm really stoked on, because it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, because like that's the vision. Like, you know, the vision of this whole project started from my perspective, and to have another editor like working on the film, kind of like have them interpret it in a different way, maybe is like, it's not a bad thing, but it's just like something I'd like to avoid, I guess.
Well, it's quite clearly a very personal project, so it's like,
you know what it's meant to be. Like.
Anything an exterior person is going to do is going to dilute it, like.
Yeah, and so I just feel like, as like, you know, I mean, I'm not like the most experienced editor, but I don't think I'm too bad either. I've been going off of like, you know, the Tempest guys, and be like, hey, like, what do you guys think of this? And it's been a nice, again, like, you know, kind of like routine of just like checking up, and then like, you know, refining, and then like editing more, refining, and then at the point where it is now, like it's been, I think like a good like 3 weeks of like the edit being like basically untouched, because it's just like, it feels like solid.
It's that weird moment where you like, you return to it, tweak a frame, and you're like, well, I think it's...
Dude, literally. I did that for like a week. I was like, all right, come in one day and like look at the timeline and be like, okay. Like,
you kind of feel like you have to change something.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, I'm going to do a disservice if I don't like scale this in at the right moment, or like, you know. But I also don't want to do too much either. Like, you know, it's like a water painting almost. Like the more you like try and fix it, like the worse it's going to look.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of like go down a direction, and like, you know, you're set on it, and then like just stick with it, not like, I'm going to backtrack a bunch and like be like, I think it should be this, or, you know.
Yeah.
I'm stoked on it.
Sick.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I've kind of got one main question, but have you got any other things that you want to say?
Me?
Yeah.
No, but I think I know what you're going to ask.
What? Wait, which one? That one or that one?
Oh, bottom one.
Bottom one, yeah. So I mean, it's the weirdest thing because it's this year and it's COVID, but like, what after this? What's on your horizon? Where do you want to go until like an asteroid hits the world or something? You know, like.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's I definitely am going to be relieved that this is over with and like done in the way that I envisioned it, because that's like the sickest feeling.
Yep.
I also don't want it to be over, because it's like honestly been like the reason like I've kept my mind like completely like, you know, sane, is like something to work towards. And I think that's the biggest thing that I realize is like, I think in the moments where I like seems like I don't have anything to do is like when I actually like go the most crazy, and I need something to like be working on and like putting my time in. And I love to like obsess over something, like to just like only be in the moment of just doing this one thing, and like that's it. Yeah. There's no room for any excess like thoughts to come in. So you just like you're going at this one thing and that's it.
Just living in your flow state, basically.
Basically, yeah. Like that's the greatest place to be. And so I guess I don't really know what the next project is. Like, I don't think there's going to be a Skullchatter 2. Like, I mean, I don't want to like, I think it's just like, what's the next project, and like, what's the best like way to kind of like, you know, what am I going through in the moment, I guess, and then like kind of like translate that into like the next project.
Sick.
Does that mean you'd probably be kind of less active on Instagram, do you think, and other social medias?
I don't think so. I mean, if I'm doing like a proper project like this in the future, I probably will. But like now, once this is over with, I feel like I'm gonna kind of just be back into it, because I just feel like I don't want to like, I don't want to hype anything up, and I don't want to like put out anything that's like straying away from the project that I'm dealing with. So that's why I've just been so quiet. So once this is over with, I'm just gonna hop back on Instagram and just be like,
nice,
business as usual. And look forward to the next one, man. I'm stoked. Yeah. That's all I can say.
Very, very cool. So, I mean, you kind of touched on it there, but like, given the sort of the initial Skullchatter sort of constant mind, I guess we could kind of sort of, it's that kind of, you never necessarily say kind of worry or anxiety, but it's that like that active, constant sort of mind. Do you feel like this project has alleviated it, got rid of it, helped it? Have you what have you learned? Like, do you feel like you've grown throughout this process, sort of, I guess, mentally and physically? Like, has it been more of a physical boundary pushing project, or more of like a mental one?
Yeah, it's definitely been more of a mental one for sure. Like, I think the one thing, like after I did that thing in February, I like in my head envisioned it, the thing. Yeah. I envisioned it being like, once I get this, like this accomplishment over with, I'm going to be like so happy. And like, it's just going to like flood every like bad thought away. And like, it did at first. Like, it was like, I was the most stoked I've been in like so long. And for like about like a week or two, and then it like came back like hard. Like I just like the thoughts were coming back in, and like just overthinking, like, you know, I haven't filmed like anything like since then, like, and then, you know, you get into this loop of like self-doubt and like angst, and like just you're just like, what the heck, like what's going on, like I don't know. And so I think it definitely made me realize that, like, you know, those thoughts are going to be there for me, like they're going to be there, you know, for the time being, and it's not like I'm just going to like get rid of them, and then that's going to be like that's not the best way to deal with it, now that I'm realizing.
Yep.
And the best way to deal with it is just to know that it exists, and in the way that, like, you know, you don't want to just be completely happy your whole life. Like, in a way, like, you know, you want like enough kind of like bumps that you can bounce back, because that gives you like clarity of like what's actually going on. Like,
and it gives you context of like yeah, it gives you the parallels of kind of different emotions.
If you were always happy, you wouldn't know what happy is.
Yeah, really. Exactly. Yeah.
It's the exact same. Yeah, that's exactly it. And like, yeah, to a certain extent, like you need like hard times to really appreciate like the good times. And so that kind of realization definitely helped me grow a lot. Because I'd always look at myself and be like, why am I not like happy? Like, look at all these other people. Like they seem like great. And then like, you know, getting all down on myself, being like, oh, look, I'm not this, I'm not that. And then like that just, you know, kicks it off over again. Like, it's just like, all right, here we go. Like back in the loop. And so, yeah, it's definitely been more of like a learning and growing experience this year mentally, which, you know, that's the biggest, I think that's the thing in life for me is like, you know, that's the mark of like a good life is like experience and learning and growing.
100%.
Less about the physical challenges you actually do. You know, those are great. And those are like, you know, a testament to who you are, and like what you've become and, you know, your like your story, I guess. But yeah, the biggest thing to me is like, you know, your mental like ability to overcome adversity. And like, that's now I understand, like, that's the mark of like someone who is, you know, determined and like wanting to just like live life and like go. And it's like anyone can accomplish anything if everything goes their way. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, you know, that's just not going to happen. And that can be kind of shitty to hear, but like,
it's never like, always going to go your way. That's simply it. Like,
it's just, never. And yeah, it's not supposed to be a bad thing. Like, it's a good thing. Like it gives you clarity and it like makes you really question like why you're doing what you're doing. And that's such a good thing. Like, you want to know those things. And if there's ever like a moment of like, maybe I need to like, you know, like think about this a little bit more, like kind of like, you know, reconsider, I guess. Those are moments that like when it is back to being good, like you really realize like what those really meant. And like, yeah, looking back now, like back in January, like if I look back in January, like, and knowing how I feel now, I'd be like, I would think you're crazy. Like, it's just like, it's two different people to me. Like, I was just a different person. And
I know what you mean.
And to look back now, like, I know why I was that way and like why I felt that way.
I've sort of had similar bits this year as well. And I think also the last couple of years, and it is really weird to see, because also I can look back at periods where I felt like things weren't going that well. And then you have these like almost really aggressive spurts of personal growth where like, within the space of a year, you're like, fuck me, like I have changed. Maybe not on the outside, but internally you're just like, you feel elevated compared to where you are. But then it might be like another year or so again before you go through a period like that. And I think it's the realization that it sort of comes in waves like that. It's one of my favorite quotes, I forget, it's from Calvin and Hobbes, is like what's the key to like turning on creativity? And it was like last minute panic. It's like this feeling of like you're just like in this weird rut and you just got to get out of it. Yeah.
So, like you said, like it's like this aggressive like push for like I got it, like you know, it just something has to change. Like it's either like this or like I'm gonna like break down. Like that's just it. And like obviously I'm gonna try my hardest to get out of this. And like you do, like you have to, don't you? Like and in a weird way, it's like not excited me, but it's like knowing that like when that next kind of, you know, rut comes around,
you're like I've got to work on something.
I'm excited because I know that like it'll turn out to be something like great. Like
100%.
It'll like become something. And so like that's a cool way to like transfer that negative energy into like something good. You know?
100%. I feel very, very similar. Like especially just throughout this year. It's been a crazy test of a year for sure. Yeah, it really has.
Definitely.
Well, I feel like that's been we're just about to hit an hour. That's been a lovely
already. Dude, they always go by so quick.
I know. Yeah.
I remember the last time we did this, we were in England. Like it was
sweating in it.
Summer.
It was summer.
It was summer. It was so hot
in that small. I mean, we're still there. Still in that small.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it goes by so quick. But yeah, I appreciate you guys doing this. Like,
no,
I love to chat and love to hear what you guys are doing. And
100%,
really appreciate it.
Are we gonna do a top 5 with Nate?
We should do a
top five.
Ooh, I haven't seen this yet.
Well, the problem is normally you would pick one of these, but we have a random choice that we want to do with our guests
snap.
of top fives. All right, I'm going to shake this pot around.
Can I tell you which one to pick?
Let me shake it and then.
Okay, Keelan, shake it, and then I'll pick it. Tell us when to pick.
Now.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay, what have I got? Good. Top 5 moves or tricks.
Oh.
Whoa, top 5 in order or random?
Depends on you. Like typically we would say in order, but that's obviously hard. So
if you've got an order,
top
then
5.
Maybe.
Dang, dude, that's crazy.
I feel like that's such a good question for you.
Yeah, because you're very diverse.
I'd say top 5 for the 5th being just a regular good precision, like stuck properly.
Yeah,
nice.
That's just the nicest thing. Number 4 would probably be. I'm gonna go like in sequence. Yeah, so Lachey Pre. I would say number 4.
Nice.
Like
okay.
Solid Lachey Pre.
That's a good feeling.
Number 3, I would say like a cork D-leg or a D-leg in any way. Like proper, like toe grab, like pike, like nice
proper
pike.
Nate cork, like
Yeah. Number 2. Dang, that's crazy.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, you know.
No, I'm really trying to think. What's number 2?
Yeah, you got to think about number 1 in comparison to number 2. It just gets harder.
I know. Yeah. Number 2, I'd say like a proper like roof gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like
nice bit of air time.
Like nothing crazy, but just like feeling the air time, like solid.
Nice non-painful roll.
Oh yeah, when that goes right, you've done wonders.
Yeah, you definitely hit flow state for sure.
Yeah.
Number 1, I gotta say Cypher stick to like a rail, like a proper proper like landing. Like that's like a great feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Were those like a mixture of aesthetically you like them, but also the way they feel?
Kind of both. Yeah. I think the top I like the idea of like movement and like someone's style being like obviously nice to look at, but also like competent in like the way that they train.
Yeah.
But that there's also like a move can be insanely difficult, but look horrendous in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So it's like, kind of like knowing like there's a difference between like style and like move choice, and there's a bridge in between that, and like you can kind of find the best of
I like
both
that.
of those.
The movement choice is such a like key thing, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's a really distinguishing factor for an athlete, I think.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Well,
heck yeah.
We should probably wrap this up because my laptop has hit the 40% mark, which means that it sort of seems to, if I hit render on Premiere right now, it would just turn off. It would just go, sorry, battery's dead. So it's so frustrating.
I'm going to use up all 40% just to render.
Yeah. But no, this has been amazing. I'm really, really glad we got it done.
Yeah.
And if you are listening to this and you haven't seen the trailer, which would be really weird, obviously go and watch the trailer. What channel is it going on?
It's going to be on Tempest.
Okay, sick. And then the film comes out on the 30th, right?
30th, that is correct, sir.
Amazing. You got a time yet, or is it sort of you're dialing that?
Like time of like duration or
time when it will come out, yeah.
Probably like morning here, so probably like afternoon.
Yeah, sick.
Cool.
But yeah, we're still figuring that out.
Amazing.
But yeah, 30th, it'll be here.
And then photo book to pre-order as well.
Yeah, please do. I mean, I think like that's one of the coolest things to me about this whole project. Like, there's just a video, and then there's like the photo book is
and then clothing as well.
Another piece.
Have you had a photo book in hand yet?
Not yet. No.
It's so fucking nice to have one. Like,
I cannot wait.
It's
dude.
so nice.
We were going off of like because we have Emily's photo book, and we have the Soul Destroyer one as well, and we were like. I mean, they're not directly copying, obviously, but like we were taking a lot of inspiration.
It's just
like to see what looks good. And like it's a difference between like this looks good on paper and like what you think might look good, but there's like sometimes it just doesn't even look good.
And there's just I don't know why. Like when you're involved with the project and then you make a photo book and you just have it and you can like have it on display or on a coffee table or like I don't know.
Dude, I'm so
it's just
excited.
there's something so nice about a physical version.
I cannot wait.
Really cool.
Man.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Thanks, man.
Same.
I'm stoked.
Amazing. We'll hit end on this and then we'll chat for a second. So
Cool. I look forward to it.
Thank you all for listening.
Appreciate
obviously
it.
follow Nate if you don't already. I don't know why you wouldn't.
I know. How weird.
Yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff. 5 stars on iTunes. Blah. We never say that stuff, but please go and do it.
It's been a long time since
Yeah.
Quite useful if you
It's a
do.
given.
Yeah. So sick. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you soon.
Cheers.
Love you. Bye.